Have you ever insisted on something being done your way? Maybe you have avoided a difficult conversation, or maybe you struggled to implement change. I think if we're all honest, we can relate to at least one, if not all, of those three things. I wanted to share a different perspective on those this week. This coming weekend is Easter. It's a time of the year in the Christian calendar where we celebrate the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Now, whether or not you are a person of faith, the themes within Easter and the Easter season shed some great lessons, some important lessons about the psychology of truly great leadership. The historical events that lay the foundation for Easter center around the crucifixion of Jesus Christ and then his resurrection 3 days later. And Christians believe that Jesus, who is the Son of God, made the ultimate sacrifice where he gave his life as taking payment or as payment for the sins of the world. And he ultimately conquered death, coming back to life so that humanity could have an ongoing relationship with God and could spend eternity with him in heaven. Now, the overarching theme of the Easter story is one of death and new life. It's about death to self in order to others that might live. These same themes are echoed in good leadership and displayed in the lives of great leaders. See, the fundamental principle of leadership is that leadership is not about you. It's about those you serve. It's about the people that you lead, your team. It's about the organization within which you serve. It's about the broader community that your organization services. See, good leadership always requires service, and service equals sacrifice. Sometimes leaders are called and required to make the ultimate sacrifice, and that means death. Now, I'm not talking literally. I don't expect that anyone reading, watching, or listening to this is going to be putting their life on the line for those that they lead. However, many leaders face a metaphorical or a figurative death if they are to see their teams experience a fresh life, sense of life, lease on life, to operate with a renewed energy and perform at some sort of higher level. So let's explore the three most common deaths a leader must face in order for their team to experience some new sense of life. The first death is one of ego. Your great leaders are able to kill their ego, or at least set it aside in order that their teams may benefit, all right? Even if it's costly for themselves. See, this is a hallmark of humility and humble leadership. Now, there's this great meta-analysis, which is a study of studies, done in 2002, had over 16,500 people involved in the research, and it concluded that humble leadership was correlated with increased trust, commitment, engagement, empowerment, self-belief, and increased in performance. Now, I don't know about you, but I want all of those things for my team, don't you? We would all say and agree that great leaders are willing to own their mistakes, to learn from their failures, to receive honest feedback, to give an apology when needed, and to make amends to rebuild fractured relationships. We'd all agree that that's part of good leadership. But it's impossible to do any of those things if we are protecting our own ego. If you can kill your ego, however, you can build trust, rapport, and respect, breathing a new sense of life into your team and its culture. So that's death of ego. The next one is death of comfort. The lure of comfort, the call of easy, is a temptation for every single leader. The fact remains, however, that everything that is meaningful is hard to accomplish. The path to the success always goes through discomfort. So leaders who choose to prioritize their comfort, they're not going to remain leaders very long. even if they retain the title of leader. But those who choose to step outside their comfort zone, however, they are the ones who are going to grow in capacity. They're going to see a sense of growth in capability and strength of character, both within their teams and also within themselves. The final one is the death of the old. Now, I'm a big believer that change is at the very heart of leadership. Whether it's leading some sort of formal organizational change or transformation, or whether it's informally just helping one person individually grow and develop, there's always a change that is occurring. And leadership, in essence, is helping people to move from one old or current state towards a new state. And for this new state to be achieved, to be embedded, for the benefits to be fully realized, really for the new state to be brought to life, well, there needs to be a death of the old. And that is a death of the old ways of doing, the ways of thinking, the old ways of being. It's all necessary for those to die in order for the new to come to life. So there we go, death of ego, death of comfort, death of the old. Which one of these resonates with you most? Which death do you need to face this year, I wonder? You know, for me, it's definitely death of ego. And I've been wrestling with that over the last couple of months and what that means and looks like in my own life and my own leadership. What is it for you? You know, Easter is not only about death. It's about a celebration of new life. And that's why we have Easter eggs, right? They are a symbol of new life. Now, when leaders are willing to face and put to death the obstacles of team health and growth and performance, their teams are able to experience this new lease on life. Now, it's not always easy. It can sometimes be scary. Often it's painful. And you know what? It doesn't end. We have to keep doing it again and again and again. And yet, it's always necessary if we want our teams to be fully alive. For individuals to be alive, for our teams collectively to operate with this sense of full life. I reckon the sacrifice is worth it. So my question to you is, what in your life and leadership needs to die in order to bring life to something new? What action do you need to take? Go and do that thing. So, happy Easter. And if you want, if you have questions about Easter and the Christian beliefs of that, I encourage you to reach out. I would love to have a conversation with you and just answer those questions for you. If you don't, until next time, lead well.